Welcome into another edition of Just a Minute with Austin, Hannon. I'm Katie Windham. And Austin, it's the off season for all sports, for all college sports, really, except for obviously the men's college world series is still going on. But for Alabama sports, it's the off season. It's still been a big week of Alabama basketball news. The NBA draft will be Thursday night. But Alabama got a big commitment this week for Jarin Stevenson, who was 2024 but reclassified to 2023. Just talk about what this means for Nate Oats and the Alabama basketball program and kind of why he was the right guy at the right time for this team.
Yeah, this whole situation for the basketball team has just been, I mean, the way Nate Oats has been able to handle everything has just been phenomenal. I mean, we should expect nothing else. I mean, ever since he's, been hired by Greg Byrne, he's come in, he's won games, he's recruited, but he's losing Brandon Miller, Noah Clowney, and Charles Bediako to the NBA tonight. How is he going to respond with that? What was going to happen? He goes out and gets Walters, the recruit that can maybe replace Brandon Miller in the scoring form. JQ comes back. So then you're thinking, all right, well, now they need the front court, right, to replace Charles Bediako and Noah Clowney. He goes and gets Grant Nelson, and now he gets Jarin Stevenson, who was only going to reclassify if it was Alabama that he decided on, I think I saw. So he's going to be a little bit of raw talent. We've seen Alabama get guys like this in the past. If you remember, Kyra Lewis was this way, and he ended up getting drafted after 2 years. So I think he's going to be a little bit more raw just because he should have another year of high school. But a tremendous talented player. I'm sure you've seen memes all over Twitter and everything that this guy was kind of, he was right in front of North Carolina's hands, which is the blue blood of blue bloods in college basketball, from Seaforth High School in Pittsburgh, North Carolina, which is right there. And they let it slip. They let a guy like this that, 99 out of 100 times in this last 2 decades would choose North Carolina basketball over Alabama basketball, but not today. And it's weird, and it's very telling of where Nate Oats has brought this program, and for one of the top power forwards in the country right out of North Carolina to come and join Alabama. It's a huge deal, not only on the recruiting front, but for this roster for next season.
Yeah, it really speaks to where Nate Oats has gotten this and recruiting wise. And even, a lot of his success so far was with a different coaching staff. And this shows he can still recruit even with different assistants. Hodgson and Petway were really good recruiters, but he's still able to bring in these guys, even with a new staff. And like you talked about, when Charles Bediako decided to stay in the NBA draft, Alabama was not expecting that. And so they needed front court help because not only with Clowney and Bediako gone, but even, kind of some of your depth with Noah Gurley graduating, you're kind of just left with Nick Pringle, who's a guy with a lot of athleticism, but maybe not the only forward you want on your roster. And so Grant Nelson has not officially been signed yet, but, it's kind of projected and reported as coming to Alabama once some things get figured out there. And so with Stevenson coming, it really helps solve some of those front court issues. And like you said, he might be a little raw, but he's a very highly rated guy. If you go look at Blake Byler, kind of our basketball guys tweet about him. He's one of the highest rated players Alabama's ever gotten. And so it just kind of continues the momentum that Nate Oats and this Alabama basketball program have. And so it's big news for the Crimson Tide. But that'll wrap up today's Just a Minute. Thank you so much for watching.